It goes without saying, learning to ride is such a rite of passage. And speaking as a proud dad, it's an unforgettable journey to be part of for everyone involved.
That was awesome. How cool was that?
I want to wait for now over here.
In this video, we'll take a look at what it takes to get your kids riding. As well as the steps involved in learning to ride, we'll also touch on some of the pitfalls we encountered with our kids. Kids usually learn to ride a bike between the ages of 3 and 8, though some start even younger on balance bikes.
Mili and Dex were in the 5 to 6 year old range, which isn't uncommon, but it's good to know your child and gauge when they're keen to take the plunge.
Our kids never really took to balance bikes, graduating from 3-wheel trikes to scooters to regular bikes with trailing wheels. Balance bikes are a great way for kids to learn many of the fundamentals of how to ride without the complexity of pedaling.
As we watched our kids, we have a few thoughts on things that may slow a child's progress.
The minimum seat height of many children's bikes can be pretty high.
Our kids have struggled to stand on the ground with the seat all the way down when they've been very comfortable when actually riding the bikes. The alternative is to have them on a smaller bike, but then their legs will be bunched up and their knees will often interfere with the handlebars.
Bikes that kids typically learn on are usually single speed. They are often geared too high for an inexperienced child to turn over the pedals on anything but flat terrain. Having multiple gears seems like a good idea, but this makes the bike more expensive and can be difficult to understand and operate. Looking back, it would have been easier for our kids to learn on smaller bikes. Being able to easily put their feet on the ground would have added to their confidence, and we should have switched out the rear sprocket for a lower geared one to make hills easier.
Prepare to be lucky. As previously mentioned, choose a bike that the child can comfortably stand over with both feet on the ground. Remove the pedals as we'll initially ride the bike like a balance bike. Pedals will get in the way and will hit a kid's shins as they start to figure things out. As for clothing, long sleeves, long pants, gloves and a helmet are great protection for the inevitable rapid unplanned dismounts that will occur. Choose a stretch of asphalt that has a very modest slope to it. Grass is softer, but it's more difficult to ride on for a new rider. A modest slope will allow the child to carry a small amount of momentum, allowing the kiddo to continue rolling as they figure out and fine-tune their movements.
Next up,
learning how to coast. On a gentle hill, have the child propel the bike forward with their feet while keeping their feet near the ground. This will teach them balance while giving them the security that they can put their feet down at any time. Be ready to catch them on their first few tries. After a few goes, they likely won't need much intervention.
That was awesome. How cool was that?
I want to wait for now over here.
Nice.
Keep practicing coasting until they can go a good distance coasting down a gentle hill.
Look at that, it was great.
Now it's time to put the pedals back on. Have the child coast down the hill as before, and as they start to get a good balance, ask them to find the pedals and start pedaling. This will be a little precarious, as they will likely look down and lose their balance the first few tries. Be ready to catch them if they do. They will quickly start to learn how to pedal on their own. Time for a quick celebration. And now it's Dex's turn.
Riding a bike. Look where you're going, keep pedaling. Yay! Go Dex! Woo!
Now it's time to teach them to set off by themselves. As usual, this is easier down a gradual slope. Have them position the pedal on their dominant side at around a 1 to 2 p.m. position. Then ask them to push down while keeping balance with their other leg. They'll quickly get the hang of this on a modest hill. Using the brakes. A good method to help your child learn how to operate the brakes is to have them walk next to the bike and pull on the levers. After they show they can modulate how hard to pull on the levers, get them back on the bike and have them practice on a nice dry piece of asphalt travelling in a straight line. Impress on the child to rarely use the brakes while turning, especially when the terrain is loose or slippy. Other advice.
Look where you want to go.
One of the most common phrases uttered by a parent is to,
Look where you want to go.
I
Don't look.
didn't crash into a park.
Look where you want to go.
It's easy for a child to get distracted or look at obstacles that they want to avoid. Looking at an obstacle will often result in the child riding directly into that obstacle. Another piece of advice is to tell the child not to move their handlebars too rapidly from side to side. This action often leads to the front tyre losing grip and washing out, especially on loose terrain. Practice is obviously key, as is making it fun. Also, mitigating the stress that comes with learning to ride is really important. If it looks like the child is checking out or getting overly anxious, take a break and come back to it another day. Also, be sure to vigorously celebrate their successes.
You are riding a bike. Take a bow.
This isn't overly hard, as it's such an inspiring thing to be part of.
Thank you for watching Dizi Does Downhill. Make sure to subscribe, put some comments down below, and like it.